Alright, so I put together a bit of a game library to help you with your portfolio projects. So I'll share the repo link in the description of this video, and this is the start code you'll get. Okay, and we're just gonna do a series of videos here just to show you what's I've given to you and how maybe we can put it into practice in a simple program. Okay, so let's start by opening this up in VS Code. And inside of VS Code, this doesn't look like very much. We just have a canvas and then our game library and our main.js. And then let's look at our game library. Okay, so inside of here, this is where I get the canvas and the context ready. And then here's some global variables that are really useful. Mouse X, mouse Y, mouse is pressed, key pressed, etc. Have a default canvas size here. And then there's also a function where you can set the width and height of the canvas. And I think in main.js, yeah, I use that here. I'm going to change this though to 600, 400 because I zoomed my text in. And then this just has that basic animation loop, right? The draw function that loops over and over and over again. All right. Also in the game library, a bunch of functions to find the distance between 2 points, to test if a point is inside of a circle or not, point inside of a rectangle, circle collide, rectangle collide, etc. And here's all your event listener stuff that make these variables useful. Right, so mouse is pressed. Whenever the mouse goes down, we set it to true. Whenever it goes up, we set it to false. Whenever we move the mouse, we calculate where mouse X, mouse Y is. What else we got here? Oh yeah, key pressed. We'll talk more about that later. This key press variable is really cool. Okay, so let's see some of these things in action. Why don't we start off with, well, let's launch the program first. Let's go live. And okay, good. We got our canvas there. Open up our console, and it's saying hi over and over again because we had that inside of our draw function here. So let's get rid of that, and let's just have our logic section and our draw section. And let's start off with a background. Sort of black back. It is already black, but we want to make sure we redraw the background over and over again to make sure we don't lose. Oh yeah, that autocomplete thing. Canvas.width and canvas.height. Okay, and then the first thing we'll look at is in the game library. We've got our mouse X, mouse Y, and let's just make sure that works. Okay, so let's just draw a, maybe we'll draw a circle. CTX.stroke style, let's go white. Let's just do a rectangle again. Fill rectangle, stroke rectangle. At mouse X, mouse Y, and 50-50, let's say. Okay, so mouse X, mouse Y are variables from our game library, and they're going to get updated whenever we move the mouse. So hopefully this rectangle will be drawn where, yay, where the mouse is. Right, top left corner, it's where the mouse is. Brilliant. Okay. Another variable in here is the mouse is pressed, right? And again, that just is true when mouse down, false when mouse is up. So we could throw this inside of a if mouse is pressed, then we'll draw this thing. So we'll save that. And you'll see nothing's being drawn, but if I press the mouse, then it will draw. Okay. So like I said, just useful tools in our game library that can help you. What else we got here? Canvas size, we talked about that already. Oh yeah, this key pressed. This one I think is really cool. It starts off as an empty object. And let me show you what happens. Let's just do it in the console. Oops, in the console here, and we'll see. So right now, if I go key pressed, it is an empty object. And now if I press let's press the left arrow key. Left arrow key. Now nothing happens in our program, of course, but now if I look at key pressed, it's added arrow left as a property, and now it's false. If I were holding it down, it would be true. I wonder if it'll show that as no, it doesn't update. Anyway, let's try adding, I'm going to add the space key. So now you see it added the space key, and it's false. So essentially what's happening here is whenever we press a key down, I'm getting the e.code and we're setting that as a property, and we're setting that property value to true, and then when we go key up, we set that property value to false using the code. So it only ever needs to add the keys that you're going to use in your program. So that's pretty cool. Anyway, let's see how that works. I would suggest, what's the best way to practice? Well, you know what, let's set up a player object. Player object, and we'll say let player be assigned an object with an x property of 300, let's say a y property of 200, a width of 25, a height of 25, maybe a speed property as well. That's good for now. And then this rectangle here, we'll change that to player.x, player.y, player.width, player.height. And let's get rid of the mouse press stuff. Okay, and then in the logic, so now that should draw out those variables. And in the logic section, I should be able to go if key pressed, and then I'm going to do square brackets, arrow up, let's say. I think that's the proper code. Yeah, I think so. And then we'll go player.y plus equals negative player.speed. And add an else if key pressed arrow down. And we'll do the positive speed in this case. And let's just test that to make sure it works. So like I said, this key pressed and then whatever the property is should return true or false, whether that key is being pressed or not. And that was arrow keys up and down. Yay! Okay, cool. Okay, and then of course, let's just quickly add left and right. I'm going to start a new if statement for that so that they can be independent. Arrow left, we just change the x property, and then arrow right would be again changing the x property. And we should be able to move around. Yay! Okay. And then obviously for good coding practice here, we should probably take all this code. Let's have some helper functions here. And we'll do a function called move player and put that code into here. And then move player like so. Okay, and we could do a draw function too, and we'll add that eventually, I think. Let's make sure that still works. Yay, still works. Okay. All right. Next up, actually, that's a good introduction so far. I think we'll stop there. We looked at all of these variables here and introduce those. In the next one, we'll take a look at some more of these functions here. Okay, see you in a bit.